For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. What a week. You know, we do this show on Fridays, and it's so crazy to think that so much can happen from the time that I last sat at this microphone and talked to you. So, you know, Hurricane Irma, that's the big story right now. We've got Prince William and Kate having their third child. Kardashian and Kanye West are having their third child. So there's just a lot of news happening, which of course it never stops, right? Could you imagine if we went for one day without, like, anything happening in the world? Like, we're no tragedies, no terrorist attack, no storm, no shooting, no anything. Wouldn't that be crazy? Could you imagine? Like, I'm wondering, first of all, the economy would take a hit because, you know, things are booming right now with everybody trying to get supplies and everything in Florida and all of the islands out in the Caribbean. And of course, it's a devastating time there. And naturally, our thoughts are with those who are affected and fleeing and losing everything. It's crazy. But let's go back to that first point. If there was just nothing that happened in the world for one day, what would that be like? There was nothing to report in the news. There's no celebrity scandals to talk about on TMZ. It would just be very bizarre. And I made this comment before about what happened if we just shut down social media for one day. If there was everybody always does these campaigns about, like, putting your phone down for this many hours or a weekend or whatever it is, or Earth Day where you turn off the lights for an hour. But what if just all the social media websites just shut down for a day? And you were forced to have to go and, like, talk to people. No, you'd probably still be text messaging, I guess, now that I think about it. But could you imagine if that happened? Like, it would just be... And, you know, really, when we have these tragedies, like the hurricanes that are happening right now, it really, I think, gives a lot of people food for thought because they have no homes right now. And so, for as much as we take for granted about, well, I'm just going to post, a selfie on Facebook, or I'm going to do this, think about the people that had no power for 4 or 5 days. You know, they were forced into this. They had cell phones, but a lot of them, as I mentioned, I think a week or two ago, that a lot of them were blowing their cell phone batteries by taking pictures and video and trying to show the crazy winds and everything. And it's like, first of all, one, it's not worth your life. I don't care how many minutes of fame you're going to get on CNN or on Facebook or whatever because you've got incredible footage. Let the professional photographers and all those people who are paid to do that and risk it, let them do that. Save your phone battery, because if you're left without power for God knows how many days, and again, we've seen that it can be, a week sometimes, you need that phone battery. So again, with Hurricane Irma ready to wipe out parts of Florida, they're expecting. Now again, if you're listening to this and it's already happened, well, it's early Friday morning for us, so we don't know what's happened quite yet in terms of destruction and devastation. But save your phone battery. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in Florida and you're listening to this show, if you're listening to this podcast sometime on the weekend of September, 8th, 9th, 10th, stop listening to this right now. If you don't have power and you don't have... I'm grateful for your support. Absolutely. I thank you so much for tuning in. Save your phone battery. Save your electronics and all that other stuff, because if there's an emergency and you need that phone, let's hang on to it. I got ripped apart the other week. I don't know if I told this story on the show. Maybe I didn't. But again, CNN did this tweet wanting people to, send in your pictures and your video and call us and share your stories with us when Hurricane Harvey was ripping into Texas and Houston and all those areas. And it was like a Friday night, I believe. And I ended up just replying back going, not the smartest thing to risk your life and get news coverage for CNN. Let them do it. Let them get it. And people were actually, like, tearing into me that something about like, well, what, you want to see censored news? Oh, what, you can't handle real news? Thinking that I was like, I guess a CNN basher or something. I don't really know what the point was. So it's like, you're totally missing the point here. I'm actually giving people advice. I am giving them some friendly knowledge of, hey, it's not worth... We know what the winds look like. We know what the pelting rain looks like because we see it on the TV cameras and they've got people there. Don't waste your battery. And again, more importantly, don't risk your life. It is not worth it. So CNN is going to show your pictures for 30 seconds or on a loop for 5 minutes. And then what? What do you get from that? Really? Back in the day, and I shouldn't, I write for newspapers and radio, and I'm part of the media, but I shouldn't tell you this. Back in the day, you used to be able to sell your images to newspapers. You were. I know a friend who got into photography out of high school, and he was in our city, and they were doing a feature. The newspaper was doing a feature on just, I guess, the landscape or whatever it was, different unique buildings and locations in town. And he sold 8 of his photos and got $800 just because he had the photography hobby and just thought, hey, you know what? But now the media outlets, and I'm a big cheapskate as well, so I can tell you, they are banking on you just giving up your images and, because you put them out there. You tweet them, you Facebook them, you Instagram them, whatever it is. And that's what newsrooms are doing, is they're scouring social media. I get it all the time. People tweet me, oh, hey, can we use your photo? Hey, can we use it? And I reply back, here's the email address. If you want to license our content, have at her. And they won't. They won't reach out. I mean, if it's a really good picture, they might. But they're going to find somebody else who's got another image. And again, people want that credit. They want to see their username or their handle on the TV screen for that few seconds that the picture is shown, and that's that. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, sell your content. If you get good pictures and stuff like that, don't just let anybody use it. And I do see a lot of people do that. On YouTube, they'll have a viral video or something, and in the description it'll say, for licensing information. Good on them. Good on them. Let the media pay for stuff if they want it. That's the funny thing, right? We hear about how newspapers and all these different outlets are struggling to get by and they're not getting the advertising revenue. Well, you know what? They're getting enough free content from people on social media. So, hey, you know what? You gotta, if they want the content, just like they say if, readers want content, they should pay for it on the internet. Well, it's no different than a newspaper editor or publisher. You want the content, you want the pictures, pay for it like you used to. Come on now. Come on. Again, I'm a best-selling cheapskate author with a cheapskate column in a newspaper, but I'm gonna tell it like it is on this one, folks. If you've got content and you've got media outlets wanting to use it, you ask them to name the price, or you name your price and see what they'll do. It's not unheard of. Again, like I said, $100 a photo they used to pay. Now that's going back about 15 years or so ago, but still, if he's got a hobby of photography and he's able to make $800 just on a few pictures that he took around town, why not? Why not? So there you are. So we've commented about the hurricanes and some safety tips of how to make money from your photos. Now again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not telling you to risk your life and put yourself in danger and harm's way because of a hurricane. What I'm saying is, if you do have content, just in general, anytime, for anything, and you have a media outlet wanting to use it, tell them to show you the money. Show me the money. Again, they've got money to buy crap like that. They do. They really do. They do. So, anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. The airports, of course, are naturally packed with people trying to flee the area in Florida, mostly Miami, but other surrounding areas as well. I've got a story about airports that I'm going to tell you in the next segment, and I really want your opinion on it because I'm torn, and I'm not even telling you the story yet, and I'm already thinking I feel gross. I feel gross about it, so I'll tell you why coming up. We're back in just a moment here on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble again. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. I do love the days when I can just unload 30 minutes of chatter on you because I enjoy it. It's a very good time. So in the last segment, I was briefly setting up my story about airports. I spend too much. I like traveling, but I hate the airport and the airplane thing. If I could just go from my hometown, like the Jetsons, you have those little tubes that you can shoot up and then go into the next place, that's what I would appreciate. But the thing that just drives me insane about traveling is getting to the airport, going through security, sitting and waiting, getting crammed into an airplane, and then I get very testy on the way home. So let's say it's like the last hour of the flight. I just get into a mood where I'm like, you know what? I don't want anybody to talk to me. I just don't make eye contact with me. I want to get out of here. And then there's always the people that stand up. As soon as the seatbelt sign goes off, everybody stands up right away. And if you're in row 40, I don't get it, because you're going to be standing there for an hour waiting for all the people to get off the front of the plane. And so I don't get the people that stand there. And that's also when I just get really in a bad mood. So yeah, that actually wasn't the story I was going to tell you. So let me set this up now. So picture this. You are already cleared through security. So presumably anything on that side of the gate, anything on that side of security has already been checked, right? Through the x-rays, through whatever it is. So what happens if you're in the washroom and on the counter in the washroom is an unopened bottle of ginger ale? It's an unopened bottle of ginger ale on the counter in the bathroom at an airport. Would you take it? Would you drink it? Again, keeping in mind that you wouldn't be allowed liquids through security, so it's not like it was, somebody brought it in from out. So it is from the actual airport, and it is still sealed. I'm not talking just like a regular water bottle of whatever. Like, we're talking the brand with the label, everything. It's perfectly sealed. Would you take it and would you drink it? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. I'm kind of getting goosebumps. My face is getting a little bit warm. I don't even know if I want to tell you what I did. I did. I took it. And I opened it. Again, it's not like the seal was not cracked at all. It was like a brand new ginger ale. It was in the washroom. There was nobody around. Is that gross then? Is it? Again, if this was in a random public bathroom somewhere, okay, probably not. But the bottom line is, it couldn't get through airport security because it was a big enough bottle that either the x-rays would show it or, it would get confiscated. So it was already cleared through security, whether it was delivered to one of the restaurants or stores, whatever it was, and it's unopened. Would you drink it? Would you drink it? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. I don't know. There was nothing wrong with it. I'm fine. But yeah, what do you think? What would be your instinct? I did. I had a lot of time thinking about it, going, okay, where am I? Time and place. It's if there's one place to have sort of a secure liquid, it would be passed through security at an airport, don't you think? Now I'm just trying to justify it because I feel really stupid telling you this story. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I drank it. I took it. I opened it. You could tell that it was completely unopened prior to that. Live@jbonair.com. Live@jbonair.com. Let's shift gears now, talking about, you're still sort of in the Florida area where Disney World is in Orlando. American Idol is having trouble filling the judging panel. We've talked about it on our show Entertainment Wrap-Up, that Katy Perry scored a $25 million salary. Ryan Seacrest, the host of the show, you'd think would be getting a ton of money. Well, he is. He's getting $10 million. But tabloids were reporting that he was not happy about that payday. He's the star of the show. He should be getting more than Katy Perry, who's just coming in for the first time. Seacrest has been with the show since the beginning. You'll recall that's actually sort of what launched him into superstardom. So there is reportedly a salary cap, or a payroll cap, that the budget is $40 million, according to TMZ, for the American Idol staff or talent this season. So you've already got $35 million tied up between Perry and Seacrest, and they have been apparently courting people like Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan. There's talk that Keith Urban would come back. But here's the deal with the show, is that once other salaries are known, now it becomes a pissing contest of, I'm a bigger celebrity than Katy Perry. I'm a bigger celebrity than Ryan Seacrest. So now, this is just an example. So let's say somebody like Lionel Richie, who is a legend in the music business. He's been around for decades. Now, I'm not saying he did this, okay? I'm just putting it hypothetically. So I could see somebody like him coming in and going, excuse me, Katy Perry, that's fine. She might be what's hot to trot right now, but I'm a music legend. If you are wanting to find genuine talent and somebody who knows this business, that is me. Would he command $25 million or more? I don't know, perhaps. But we also see with a lot of these reality shows is that D-listers are very quick to jump on and say, you know what, hey, if you're offering me $2 million, I will take it. But that doesn't seem to be happening with American Idol this season. So it's very interesting that the auditions are beginning in, it's this month sometime, I don't know exactly when, it's sometime in September, and the filming with the judges' auditions, like the auditions in front of the judges, happens also very soon, and they don't have anybody. So we've got this thing where, it's a pissing contest to see who's most popular and who's going to be paid the most. That's one thing. At the same time, back when the show started, and they touted it being a competition to find America's next singing superstar, if you recall the Kelly Clarkson season, that first one, that it's changed over the years, much like The Bachelor has, where when The Bachelorette and all those shows started, it maybe kind of was a search for love at the very beginning, but then people realized that if I'm the villain, or there was that first guy who was a country singer and he basically just wanted to promote his album, well, now we see that all the time. Or now they just want to get a gig on Dancing with the Stars or something like that. So with American Idol, it seems like the focus was celebrities. Now, I haven't watched Idol in a few years. My parents watched it up until, I think, the end. And I remember my mom saying to me that it's about the judges now. Like, it's not even about the contestants. It's not about that. It's the diva panel that they have with, Jennifer Lopez or whoever it is. So I feel like American Idol isn't going to be the same because, again, if these celebrity judges are really interested in finding talent, then you know what? Maybe give them a cut of that winner's record sales or something. That might be a way, because when you look at the sales of albums from the winners over the past however many seasons they had, it's gone down more and more and more. So as the payroll for the judges has gone up, the show hasn't made money because the winner isn't selling millions and millions of records. So perhaps rather than giving $25 million up front to Katy Perry, let's go and say, hey, you know what? If you really want to get behind the talent on this show and really give them a boost, then you can get a percentage of those sales. Because then that celebrity is going to have to sort of work for it and pick the right people and not just have these television moments where they're once again in the spotlight and it's all about them. They should be wanting to motivate and push those contestants and the finalists and motivate the winner and really hype it up. So then once that winner sells millions of albums, well, now Katie and the rest of the judges are kind of getting their piece, right? They're kind of getting a cut of the album sales and all that other stuff. So that's a little interesting idea. Now, again, if the brass at Idol and the record labels that would agree with something like that, I don't know. But again, might be a way to cut costs and go and say, hey, we'll give you a certain percentage of the sales if this artist hits, 100,000 albums or downloads or singles or tracks or whatever it is. But no, the celebrities are coughing it up. They're wanting that payday up front. Whether the show is a flop or a hit or the person makes it big, they don't really care. So now again, that brings up the question of, are these celebrities really genuinely wanting to help you find musical talent? Would somebody like Lionel Richie, who again is a veteran and is a legend in the industry, is he kind of now putting his name on something that's just becoming a glorified karaoke competition? But at the same time, we've heard that he's been in talks, so who knows? Is it falling through because of money? We don't know. But I feel that if it's a genuine interest and a genuine love of music and mentoring people and making them be the best artists they can be and giving them insight into the music industry, then it shouldn't be about the payday. You should be doing it because you have a love of music. Now, somebody like Lionel or any of these other veterans who have had decades of success, I would almost expect them to kind of just do it to once again be in the spotlight and maybe push their own music that they already have, and then they can get their royalties and things like that from their own record label. I know when we've done our radio shows and we've had legendary artists, and now I'm just rattling off names at the top of my head. I'm not saying that these are people who are clamoring to get in the spotlight, because we reached out to them and we asked them to come on the show. But people like the Village People and Gloria Gaynor and Kool and the Gang and groups like that, or artists like that, we found it very easy to get them to do interviews because, again, they're just wanting their music to live on, and they're genuinely happy to do an interview. When we had Kenny Rogers on this show, actually, I remember one of the first things that he said to me was, before we started our live show, was, thank you so much in taking an interest in my music. And I thought, that's so incredible, because you've got this guy who's been in the biz for, 50 years or so, and he's thanking me for taking an interest in him. I'm 35. At the time when we did this, I think I was 33 when we interviewed him. But again, he just seems so genuinely happy. Same thing with Dolly Parton. Again, you know her. She's a legend. She doesn't need to talk to me to promote an album. She can just say that she's got an album on Twitter and boom, right? But even her, after we had wrapped up our phone call, or the taped portion of our phone call, there was just this genuine, thank you so much, I appreciate you. I'm really grateful that you took the time to talk to me. And here I am the one who's kind of throwing myself at them going, thank you so much for your time, I appreciate it, oh my God. I was having this surreal moment. But again, here's these music legends that just have an interest that, hey, somebody still cares about my music, and I will have the respect for them that I'll do an interview with them, and I'll sit and I'll talk with them. And it was incredible. And again, meeting Kenny Rogers and sitting there, it was kind of a surreal moment, but again, class act, a true legend. And, I think that in the entertainment business, if you're a complete dick, yeah, you can become famous for that, as you see on The Bachelor and Bachelorette. But it's those genuine artists, and I find country artists are very similar. That they're very wholesome, they're very welcoming, they're very hospitable. So that's my rant about American Idol as well. Would love to know your thoughts on that. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. Another break, more chatter right after this here on The Scribble.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Cheapskate book, that is right. Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. I've got a few minutes here. I wanted to talk to the entrepreneurs listening to this show, because I encourage you all the time to email me. I think I do that in every segment. And I love hearing people's stories about different business ideas they have or their creativity, because when I wrote my first book, I made a whole bunch of mistakes. And like a lot of authors, I had said, this is going to sell like crazy. I'm going to order cases of books and they're going to fly off the shelves and everybody's going to want one. And it didn't. And I blew a lot of money, and I learned the hard way that you shouldn't put the cart before the horse in terms of, just selling all these things, meanwhile nobody wants it. So then when I wrote the Cheapskate book, I had done a whole bunch of publicity beforehand, and I really made people talk about the book and got the city buzzing, and then I was able to go to Walmart and Costco and get purchase orders. And so I don't even claim to be the most successful entrepreneur, because in terms of business and entrepreneurialism, you measure your success by how much money your company makes or how much you've been able to sell your company for. for me, I've just been able to squeak out a living, and I'm fine with that. And I said back in the day when I was living in my parents' basement, before everything got rolling, that I still wanted to look at $50 as a lot of money. No matter how rich, no matter how famous I got, no matter where my career took me as an entrepreneur, I always wanted to look at $50 as a lot of money, and I still do. So it's interesting to get emails from people who are entrepreneurs or have an idea, and certainly I should be charging for my time, but I don't. I like to see and read and feel your excitement when you're telling me about projects. So I got an email from a guy the other day who was saying, I've been trying and trying and trying, and you see this on Shark Tank all the time, of people who have spent years or their life savings trying to get a business up and running, or a product or something to be successful. And so he asked me about how you deal with rejection. What do you do? Like, it's so hard to want to keep trying after you get no, 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 no. And here's the deal. That is the word that I absolutely hate the most. And I think most entrepreneurs would, after you hear it so many times. And when I was starting out, now we're talking everything from trying to arrange celebrity interviews, trying to get advertising, trying to get prize giveaways, trying to get, even with books, purchase orders from stores, and all those things. And you're going to hear no a majority of the time. And I got to tell you, when I was doing this and I was living, I had my own house at the time. I had one dog, so I didn't live with any other humans. So there was really nobody that I would talk to that I could kind of sit face to face with every day. I did have, friends that I would talk to on the phone, and some other business-minded friends in my life. So we kind of talked about things like that. But there were so many times when the no would just make me would get into a funk, and I would just go and say, I don't want to do this anymore. And there's even times today still. We don't get every celebrity interview that we try for the radio shows, and I don't get everything that I want all the time. Trust me, that's maybe why I've become a dick about so many things so often. But certainly no is, yes, you hear it all the time, and it is sort of like a defeat, but at the same time, it's hard to say that it's going to propel you to keep going and keep trying. I can't lie about that. You're going to feel like it's not worth it, and I don't want to. But for me, what really pushed me was, like I said, I had my own place. So the bottom line is, I needed to pay for that house. I needed to pay for that dog that I had. And I needed to feed myself. So as much as you want to just lay in bed, it would be like almost after a breakup. You know how where you kind of just want to lay in bed and eat junk food and not see the world and not live and not do anything. You just want to be a loaf for a while. That happened to me several times, but then I quickly realized, hey, I don't have any more savings, and it's not that I was running a company that cost a lot of money. It really wasn't that at all, but it was even just simply getting income to pay the mortgage and to feed and to pay the bills and to do all that other stuff. That was the biggest struggle. So I didn't even have my sights set on making $100,000 a year and things like that. My sets were set on, let me just go month to month and pay my mortgage. And my mortgage isn't very much. It's about $600 and some a month. I bought my house before the housing boom started several years ago. But, what's my advice is, you just have to keep pushing. And for every person that says no, I looked at that as somebody who didn't believe in me or didn't have that faith in the project that I was pitching or the product that I had or whatever it was. And so that just pushed me even more, was to prove them wrong. So that, and here's the funny story. When I started to try to land celebrity interviews years ago, there were a couple of them, two in particular that I can think of. I'm not going to name them, but it doesn't really matter. But these are major recording artists, or they were at the time in Canada. And I remember just trying to get an interview with the two of them, and the publicists were just like, yeah, she'll pass. Yeah, no, there's no interest. No thanks. And then it all comes full circle, because fast forward now about 8 years or so, I have one of them, the artist herself, DM me on Twitter and ask me to interview her because she had a new single or a new album or whatever it was coming out. And so it was something like that where it's like, wow, I wasn't good enough at the time, but I kept working and I kept proving myself, and I was building up a reputation in the entertainment industry and with celebrities and publicists and record labels and what have you, and eventually it paid off. And so now it comes full circle where she is asking me to interview her. So again, now, how does that pay the bills? Well, then we try to land sponsors and advertisers for things like that. So bottom line is, every no should make me think, I'm going to prove this person wrong so that I can come back to them in 2 years and ask for their advertising money again, and they're going to say yes this time. So there you go. Again, I don't claim to be the most successful entrepreneur out there, trust me, but that's what motivated me, and that's what keeps me going. Again, if you've got some insight on this, I would love to hear from you. live@jbonair.com. Here's a quick note about Twitter.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. Again, thank you so much for listening to me babble on for the past 30 minutes. live@jbonair.com is the email address. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,